For my instructional design final project, I instituted my own design model for a lesson on the Greek heroes and the narrative of the hero's journey. So my own model is basically 6 overall steps with 4 major steps leading to the development and design of materials, all of which have a recursive evaluation, and then an ultimate 6th step for reflection. At the identify phase, the designer is asked to identify a set of learning objectives. And then at the analyze phase, the designer is asked to analyze the audience and the environment as well as the technology. So in this step, basically the analyze phase of the ADDIE model has been broken down into 2 steps. In the 3rd step, the create phase, the design and development steps in ADDIE have been combined into 1. And this is because this model is intended to promote trial and error and experimentation so that design and development happen hand in hand. The next stage is distribution, and this is very much along the lines of the implementation in the ADDIE model. And as the chart demonstrates, there is recursive evaluation, so that at each step, at the completion of each step, the designer is encouraged to reflect upon to evaluate their accomplishments of those steps. Ultimately, upon the completion of all 4 steps and evaluation and the distribution of the materials, the designer is then meant to reflect upon the success or failures of the learning objects and tasks. So the theoretical foundation for this model is based on constructivism and schema theory in particular. And these theories teach us that people learn through building blocks, that is, building blocks of prior knowledge that then serve as the foundation for the accumulation of future knowledge, skills, and applications. So with that in mind, all learning materials should be designed in units that can be built upon one another. Another important aspect of the theoretical foundation of the model is the premise that group projects are best for acquiring understanding and meaning. And so activities, whenever possible, should be designed to be accomplished in groups or teams as opposed to individual tasks. And it should also be said that this model is, through its recursive evaluation, is designed to be flexible. So the reason that the flexibility is needed is the supposed audience are students of the college level, but probably at a school like a community college or a larger public state institution. These communities of learners have very diverse backgrounds, not only ethnically and racially, but also in terms of age differences from people coming straight out of high school to returning students, and then preparedness levels. You can get top rating students and also students who are at remedial levels for math and English. And finally, in these institutions, you have students who have a very diverse range of intentions for going to school. Some are being forced there by their parents, and others are highly motivated to get a degree to advance in their present career. So the overall model has been designed to maximize flexibility in adaptation and application. The specific lesson plan that I designed is for a class on Greek mythology, an introductory level course of about 20 to 25 students, and they'll be reading about the famous Greek heroes such as Perseus, seen here on the left of the screen, and Theseus, seen there on the right. In addition to learning the factual elements of these heroes, I also want the students to be able to understand and apply Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey theory, which is a theory developed from a study of heroes across the globe, across time, and the identification of very specific traits and aspects to their adventures. And this applies very well to the stories from Greek mythology. So as I applied the model to the unit, my first step was to identify the course objectives, and I listed these off pretty simplistically as seen here. Upon evaluation, though, I recognized that this list could be improved upon by a reorganization and a presentation of not only objectives, but of specific skills. So now we break it down into the knowledge that I expect the students to learn, the critical thinking skills, the interpretive skills, and finally the application skills. The analysis phase included an understanding of the students, the environment in which they would be learning, and the technology that is to be applied. We did a minimal use of out-of-classroom technology as reflective upon the diverse backgrounds of the students and the possible lack of access that some of them might have to high-quality technology outside of the classroom or university. For the the design and develop phase, I broke it down into the homework before first day, the first day activities, homework for the second day, and the second day activities. And you can note here the high emphasis on group work and the way that the knowledge levels build from identifying patterns to comparing patterns to relating patterns, and then to relating patterns to theory, and then using that theory and those patterns to create their own heroes. After this phase, we would have the distribution, another round of evaluations, and then ultimately final reflections, which are not possible in this hypothetical, but would be conducted after the course lesson has been accomplished. So the positives, revisions, and improvements. I really liked the evaluation phase after identify. It did help me recognize that I could be a little bit more comprehensive in the way that I presented the learning objectives. But ultimately, it was difficult to see how it lined up with analysis and design and develop. I'm keeping it in there for now, but it might be less important as I move forward and it actually becomes tied to specific material that is implemented within the classroom itself. I do like the reflection, even though it was not applied to this specific exercise. In my own practice, that's been a very important step. As I often teach the same courses over and over again, it's nice to have a moment of reflection for what has worked and what has not worked. Ultimately, I think the model is successful in providing guidelines for creating flexible materials for a college-level course that are effective at building steps to knowledge and creating learning activities that are targeting a diverse background, but also a group environment for learning. Thank you.